Before working on any firearm, make sure the magazine is empty and removed. Also make sure the chamber is empty and the firearm is unloaded.
Now that everything's disassembled on this, we can now begin the reassembly. And to do that, you'll install the trigger, the mag catch, the sear, and the disconnector. Sear and disconnector is going to ride just like this. And once you got the pin in for that, you're now going to put in the sear spring. Make sure the sear spring's locked in its groove in the bottom, and that it's setting, the left-hand sear spring is setting on top of the sear leg. Once we know that it's setting on there properly, we can put the mainspring housing on a little bit to hold the mainspring in place. Next step is to install the hammer. I'm going to reinstall the mainspring pin. Okay, before I put the mainspring pin in, I take the thumb safety, and that just allows me to hold the grip safety in place where it won't come out while I'm putting in the mainspring pin. Okay, once the mainspring pin is back in, I can now remove the thumb safety again, cock the hammer back, install the plunger spring assembly. The small plunger goes in first, facing the slide stop, back of the slide stop. Then I can install my thumb safety. All right, so you push it in until it's up against the front side of the plunger, compress the plunger, and the thumb safety now is installed. All right, I won't check any of the fire controls because I wait until I get the slide assembled. That way I'm able to get it all together. That way I don't take a chance of damaging the back of the frame or the hammer or sear. So on the slide, first thing you're going to do is reinstall your extractor. Make sure it's set and flush against the radius of the back of the slide. It's not in there crooked or clocking. Okay, next step is to install the firing pin spring, the firing pin, then your slide stop. Now I get the slide stop, the firing pin stop, I get it started. And then use the back side of my little tool to compress the firing pin, and then go ahead and push and get her installed. Now, the back end of the slide install, we can now begin on the barrel and the spring assembly. Okay, so I make sure my link is all the way forward. Slide the barrel in from the front of the slide. Engage it into the locking lugs in the back of the hood. All right, now we're going to reinstall the spring and the reverse plug onto the guide rod. Okay, on the guide rod, on the spring, on the midsize and compacts, you got a closed end and an open end. The closed end always goes to the back of the guide rod. All right, you take your reverse plug and compress the spring. Reinstall the plug. Now this model's a little different, this particular one, because it doesn't have the two ears coming off that rest on the back of the spring tunnel. Some of the guns that you will see, your gun will more likely have those ears. So make sure you get those ears setting perpendicular to the top of this. That way it locks into the back of the spring tunnel properly. Okay, once it's in there, I can now remove my little tool. Make sure the barrel's setting correctly in there. Reinstall the slide onto the frame. All right, again, you need to move the slide back a little bit to get the link pin lined up with the link to line up with the slide stop pin. Pull the slide back to the half circle notch. Press in. All right, now the slide is on the frame. Now we could check the fire controls of the weapon. The first thing I do is make sure the thumb safety is working correctly. So I'll put it up in the safe position, grab the gun, and press the trigger, making sure that hammer doesn't come forward or at least even creep forward a little bit. Okay, once I know that that's fine, I can take the safety off, All right, I then hold the gun up. Don't apply any pressure to the grip safety. Hold the gun down here by the bottom of the hill and press the trigger some more, making sure that the back of the trigger bow is hitting the tang coming off the grip safety correctly. And you see that it is. Now what I do is I grab the gun again, press the trigger, leave the trigger depressed, pull my hand back off, and I release the trigger. I want to hear that click. I want to watch that grip safety move forward, showing me that it disengaged off the back of the trigger bow. That is your disassembly and reassembly of the Midsize Rock Island 1911.